Alright, hi. How's it going? So, this story is about a Inquisitor and his retinue. And a little bit of Zeech. That's kind of all I'm gonna say. That's not true. It takes place in a labyrinth. That's kind of all I'm gonna say. It's just an adventure. I wrote this one a little differently than like in novel form, or whatever you call it. Short story form, novel form, whatever. I wrote it more like it was a script, for like a movie kind of thing, or a show, whatever. So, I just listened to it all the way through, and it's too late for me to kind of go in and change certain things. I'm kind of stuck with what I got. It is a little jarring at certain points. Again, it was written like a script, so you got to keep that in mind when listening to it. So it is a little jarring at certain points. That's kind of the only thing that I wanted to mention. This is part 1 of a 3-part series I'm gonna do. I already have it completely written. I just have to do the production for part 2 and part 3. But hopefully they'll be released, pretty consistently, 2 days in between, 3 days in between. The last thing is that I didn't animate the images for this one, or AI animation for it. So they are static images. I added like a little fog effect and a zoom in, zoom out type of thing to just make it so you weren't staring at just a static image, but they are static images. I upscaled them to they're like 7K or something, 8K. So they should look good, not so blurry like what the animations kind of look like. But that's it. So just keep in mind, I wrote it like a script. I was trying something different. I don't think I'm going to continue writing like this. It's a little annoying for a couple of reasons that I won't get into. It also just sounds a little jarring, So I wrote it like a script, a little jarring. It's just an adventure, and this is part 1 of it, and static images. With that being said, I hope you guys do enjoy it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and give me criticism and feedback. That's what I'm looking for, honestly. The only way that I'll get better, the content will get better, Yeah. Hope you guys enjoy. This is the Labyrinth of the Damned, part 1. Enjoy. Thank you.
In the ashen silence of Creed Quintus, a world laid waste by ceaseless wars, Inquisitor Malachi stands alone amid the ruins of what was once a proud city. His gaze, sharp and discerning, scans the charred remnants of an imperial enclave, the air thick with the stench of decay and psychic residue. The Inquisitor's black coat flutters in the toxic winds, his figure a stark contrast against the desolation. Inquisitor Malachi. His voice echoes in the emptiness as he kneels beside a withered corpse, its features twisted in a silent scream of terror.
Whispers of the warp, you still sing your cursed songs, even in death. What secrets have you seen through the veil?
Malachi's fingers trace the air above the corpse, his touch coaxing ethereal strands to glow softly in the dim light. The psychic imprint of the deceased psyker, a message not meant for mortal realms, begins to unravel before him. Malachi, murmuring, his eyes fixate on the shimmering echoes, deciphering the tortured thoughts.
coordinates. Not random scrawls, but deliberate, precise. A map leading through the shadows. The labyrinth of the damned. Such tales wrapped in whispers and dread.
The wind howls mournfully as Malachi stands, his figure resolute against the ruins. He activates a small, intricate device at his wrist, recording the spectral coordinates into the device's memory. His voice is low, almost a whisper, as if speaking to the dead themselves.
You served the Emperor in life, and now in death, you guide his servant to avert further damnation. What compelled you, Psyker? What did you seek in that accursed maze?
Pausing, Malachi gazes into the horizon, the sun a dim orb behind smog and ashes. He contemplates the Psyker's fate, the madness that might have gripped his mind in his final moments, a mirror to what might await in the depths of the labyrinth. Inquisitor Malachi, firmly resolving himself for the path ahead.
I shall walk these coordinates into the darkness, to the heart of terror itself. If there lies power to wield against our foes, I must find it, or fall to its curse as you did.
With a final glance at the silent witness of war's folly, Malachi turns away, his figure slowly disappearing into the swirling mists that cloak the scarred landscape. The echo of his resolve lingers in the air, a solemn vow to venture where madness dwells, in search of a phantom hope that might save or damn the Imperium. In the shadowed confines of his private study aboard the flagship Requiem Sorrow, Inquisitor Malachi stands before a vast hololith display, its soft blue light casting ghostly shadows across his stern features. The room, lined with ancient tomes and relics of 1,000 campaigns, pulses with a palpable aura of mystery and foreboding. Each artifact, a silent testament to battles fought and horrors witnessed, seems to watch as he contemplates his next move. Inquisitor Malachi, his voice breaks the oppressive silence, addressing an unseen adversary.
You whisper from the shadows, voices of the damned and lost. What secrets do you hold? What power lurks within the labyrinth of the damned that even now reaches out to ensnare the minds of the faithful?
He steps closer to the hololith, fingers tracing lines of light that map the warp routes leading to the alleged location of the labyrinth. His eyes are narrow, the weight of decision pressing upon him. Malachi, musing aloud, his tone a mix of resolve and haunting doubt.
The Throne of Souls, an artifact of such reputed power that it could turn the tide against the arch-enemy. My family, taken by the warp's embrace, their souls crying out for vengeance. Could this throne be the key to their salvation, or is it a darker trap still?
Malachi turns, pacing slowly, his boots echoing softly on the stone floor. Each step is measured, deliberate, as he wrestles with the implications of his quest. Stopping, he faces a large, ornately framed portrait of his family, noble figures struck down in their prime by chaos corruption. His voice softens, tinged with sorrow.
You were the bulwark against the dark, yet taken before your time. If this throne can restore what was lost, then I am bound by blood and honor to seek it out, to wield it, or destroy it.
The room darkens momentarily as a cloud passes over the ship, the light flickering across Malachi's face, revealing a brief glimpse of his inner turmoil. Malachi, his resolve hardens, his voice now a commanding echo in the cavernous room.
This path I choose freely, though it leads through madness and despair. The Emperor guides, and I shall follow, even into the heart of terror itself. This I vow upon the souls of the martyred.
He reaches out, activating the hololith's communication array, its surface flickering to life. His tone is now all business, the strategic mind taking over as he prepares for the journey ahead.
Summon my retinue. We set course at once. The labyrinth calls, and we must answer. It is not merely a path to power, but a pilgrimage of vengeance and necessity.
As the lights stabilize, casting long shadows behind him, Malachi stands firm, a lone figure determined to face whatever horrors await in the warp-tainted depths of the galaxy. The scene closes on his silhouette, a symbol of grim resolve against the forces of darkness. The cold, echoing halls of the Adeptus Arbite's headquarters on Terra serve as the backdrop for Inquisitor Malachi's grim task. The harsh, metallic clanks of armored boots reverberate through the corridors as Malachi steps onto the recruitment platform. His figure casts a long shadow over the figures assembled before him, each a potential key to the Labyrinth's secrets. Inquisitor Malachi, his voice cuts through the ambient hum of the station, commanding and resolute.
Sister Kalia, your faith may falter, but your reputation for valor remains untarnished. Will you join this crusade, not in search of faith, but to forge it anew in the fires of battle?
Sister Kalia. Her voice is steady, her tone resolute as she steps forward, the light glinting off her armor.
Inquisitor, my blade has never wavered, though my soul may question. If it is his will that I find my faith in the darkness of the Labyrinth, then I shall follow you into the abyss.
Malachi nods, turning his gaze to the next figure. A tech priest whose mechanical augmentations whir softly in the silence. Malachi, addressing the tech priest with a piercing look.
Tech Priest Orion, your thirst for knowledge is well noted in the archives of the Mechanicus. Yet I seek not only your mind, but your allegiance to this cause. Can you serve without succumbing to the lure of forbidden secrets?
Tech Priest Orion, his voice modulated through vox grills, resonates with a metallic timbre.
Inquisitor, my cortex is dedicated to the pursuit of knowledge that benefits humanity. The Labyrinth holds secrets that, once understood, might protect or damn us. I join, driven not by mere curiosity but by the necessity of safeguarding our future.
Finally, Malachi's steely gaze settles on a shadowy figure leaning against the far wall. Jarian Zoth, an assassin whose reputation for ruthlessness is only matched by the haunted look in his eyes. Inquisitor Malachi, his tone softens slightly, recognizing the pain in the other's eyes.
Jarian Zoth, your blades have ended many, yet I ask you now to wield them for a cause greater than contract or creed. Will you seek redemption or death in the Labyrinth?
Assassin Jarian Xoth. His voice is a low growl, barely more than a whisper, yet carrying the weight of countless souls.
Redemption is a luxury, Inquisitor. I seek an end, be it of my enemies or my own demons. Your path offers both, and I walk it not for forgiveness, but for finality.
Malachi surveys his newly formed retinue, each member a reflection of the Imperium's grim reality. Faithful yet faltering, brilliant yet potentially treacherous, deadly yet damaged. He nods slowly, his decision made, his mission clear. Malachi, with a final, decisive tone, rallying his team.
Then let us embark, not just on a mission, but on a pilgrimage. We go to uncover truths that may mend or mutilate our souls. Prepare yourselves. The Labyrinth of the Damned awaits, hungry for the souls brave enough to tread its darkened paths.
As they gather their gear and ready themselves for the journey, the air around them crackles with a palpable tension, the weight of their impending journey settling on their shoulders like a shroud. They are warriors of different creeds, each bearing the burden of their past, now united in a quest that could change the very fabric of reality. Aboard the Requiem's Sorrow, the deck vibrates with the low hum of the warp drive as reality itself contorts and writhes outside the reinforced viewing ports. The cold light of the bridge casts long shadows over the crew, each member isolated in their contemplation as the ship navigates the turbulent Imperium. Inquisitor Malachi, staring into the swirling vortex of the warp, his voice steady despite the ship's shudder.
The veil thins and the labyrinth draws near. Keep your minds guarded, for the warp does not only tear at the hull, but claws at the very essence of our souls.
Sister Callia clutching her rosarius, her eyes fixed on a flickering icon of the Emperor.
The Imperium is a tempest, Inquisitor. My faith shields me, but I confess, the shadows whisper with voices much like my own. Doubts, fears. How do we fight what uses our own thoughts as weapons?
Tech Priest Orion, his mechanical limbs whir softly, adjusting the ship's etheric conduits.
Doubt is a virus, sister. It infects and multiplies within. Our technology here is designed to shield us from such corruption. But your spiritual fortitude must complement these barriers.
Assassin Jarian Exoth, leaning against the bulkhead, his voice barely above a whisper, blending with the hum of the warp.
In my trade, hesitation is death. The voices you hear, treat them as you would any other foe. Acknowledge, assess, and if necessary, eliminate, internal or not.
Malachi nodding, turning from the viewport to face his team.
Well said all. We carry not just weapons of war, but of will. The Labyrinth will challenge both. Our unity must be our fortress. Let not the dark divide what the light has brought together.
Sister Callia, her grip tightening, resolve hardening.
Then let us be blades in the Emperor's hands, sharp and unyielding. For though the warp may seek to corrupt, it shall find us incorruptible.
Tech Priest Orion, tapping a rune that glows briefly on his console.
I will monitor the ethereal flux. Any anomaly or spike in demonic activity will be reported. Knowledge is sanctity, and we shall be forewarned.
Assassin Jarian Zoth, his gaze drifting to the shadows, dancing at the edge of the light.
And I shall watch the watchers. Anything or anyone that shifts beyond reason will answer to my blades.
As the Requiem's sorrow continues its perilous journey into the labyrinth, each member of the team readies themselves in their own way, finding strength in their unity and resolve in their purpose. The ship, a lone speck in the vast swirling chaos of the warp, presses on towards the coordinates that promise either salvation or doom. As Inquisitor Malachi and his retinue advance deeper into the labyrinth, the very structure of the maze begins to shift ominously. The sound of grinding stone fills the air, echoing through the twisting corridors. Walls realign with a mechanical precision that suggests an intelligence behind their movement, a sinister purpose to their configuration. Inquisitor Malachi. His voice remains calm, but his eyes narrow as he senses the labyrinth's intrusion into his mind.
The maze tests us, reshapes its halls to reflect our innermost fears. Stay vigilant. What you see and feel may not be mere stone and shadow, but the manifestations of your own psyche.
Sister Callia, clutching her weapon tighter, her voice wavers slightly with the strain.
It's like walking through a mirror darkly. Every corner turned reveals another piece of a past I thought buried. Inquisitor, how do we fight an enemy that uses our own memories against us?
Tech Priest Orion. His optical implants flicker, analyzing the changing patterns of the maze.
We must remember, sister, that knowledge of oneself is as potent a weapon as any blade or bow. Understanding these manipulations grants us power over them. The labyrinth reflects our fears. Let us not be swayed by its illusions.
Assassin Jarian Exoth, his eyes darting to the shifting shadows, his voice a low growl.
Memories are ghosts, intangible, yet haunting. I face mine as I face any target, acknowledging their presence, understanding their nature, and then moving beyond them. The walls change, but our goal does not.
Malachi, pausing to assess a suddenly altered passage, his tone firm.
Indeed, we are here not merely to wander, but to conquer, both the labyrinth and ourselves. Let these twisted halls serve not as barriers, but as pathways, leading us to the truths we seek and the strength we must garner from them.
Alia, her resolve hardening, nods slowly.
Then let it come, the worst of what I fear. I stand ready, shielded by faith and armed with purpose. We shall see if this labyrinth can endure the light we bring to its darkest corners.
Orin, adjusting a device on his arm, his voice methodical.
I am logging every change in the structure, every pattern it throws at us. There is logic here, amidst the madness. Understanding this logic will unlock the labyrinth's secrets.
Assassin Jarian Exoth steps lightly over a newly formed threshold, his twin blades gleaming faintly in the dim light.
And should these walls close in, seeking to crush us with the weight of past deeds and fears, they will find us unyielding. For every memory that haunts me, I offer a defiance that cuts deeper than any shadow can reach.
Together, the team moves forward, each member drawing strength from the other's resolve. The labyrinth continues its sinister reconfiguration, but Malachi's team is undeterred, their spirits bolstered by shared purpose and newfound insights into their own depths. The path remains fraught with peril, but each step taken is a testament to their growing mastery over the maze and themselves. In the labyrinth's ever-darkening corridors, Sister Kalia strides alongside her companions, her armor clanking softly against the cold stone. The air grows thick, almost palpable, as shadows begin to coalesce into the shapes of armored figures. The spectral forms of her fallen comrades materialize, each bearing the scars of their last battles, faces she knows well, faces she has mourned. Sister Kalia, her voice trembles slightly as she halts, her gaze fixed on the phantoms.
You were under my command, under my protection, and one by one I watched you fall. Why do you haunt me now? Is it for vengeance or forgiveness?
The phantoms do not speak. Instead, they circle her slowly, their eyes hollow yet accusing. Sister Kalia's hand rests on her sword's hilt, her knuckles white. Inquisitor Malachi, observing, his voice steady yet empathetic.
These are not your comrades, sister. They are shadows cast by your own doubts, conjured by the labyrinth to weaken you. Face them, not as enemies or lost friends, but as the illusions they are.
Orion, analyzing the spectral figures with a scanner, his voice clinical.
The psychic resonance here is potent, twisted into forms designed to destabilize. Your guilt is the lens through which these apparitions gain form. Cognitive dissonance turned against you.
Assassin Jarian Zoth, his tone is soft, almost reflective.
We each face our past here. These halls are mirrors, sister. What you see is a reflection of what lies within. Confront it, accept it, and you can move beyond it.
Sister Kalia. Drawing her sword, her voice grows stronger as she faces each phantom.
Then I shall cut through these shadows, as I have cut through those who brought you low. For each of you, I carry forward our mission, our purpose. If my soul is to be weighed, it will be by my actions, not by the phantasms of regret.
As she speaks, Sister Kalia moves with deliberate grace, her blade slicing through the air. Each stroke dispels part of the haunting visage, her resolve manifesting as a radiant light that begins to dissolve the shadows. Inquisitor Malachi, nodding approvingly, his voice proud.
Well spoken, sister. Let your faith in your deeds be your shield. The Emperor watches over us, even in the depths of such darkness.
Alia, breathing deeply, her composure restored.
Thank you, Inquisitor, for your guidance, and thank you all for your steadfastness. Together we shall overcome the trials of this cursed place.
The phantoms fade entirely, leaving the corridor clear, the only remnants being the echoes of Sister Kalia's resolute declarations. The team continues onward, the bond between them strengthened, each step taking them deeper into the labyrinth but closer to mastering the fears it conjures. The labyrinthine passageways lead Inquisitor Malachi and his retinue into a vast chamber, its walls lined with ancient arcane machinery that pulses with a latent power. As Tech Priest Orion steps forward, his mechadendrites extend towards the consoles, his excitement palpable in the electric air. Tech Priest Orion, his voice a mixture of awe and reverence amplified mechanically.
Behold, the machinations of the ancients, untouched by time, yet ripe with forbidden knowledge. These symbols, they speak of the war, of realms beyond our understanding, waiting to be deciphered.
Orion's fingers move deftly, his touch igniting the dormant consoles. Alien symbols flicker to life, casting eerie lights that dance across his metallic visage, reflecting his burgeoning obsession. Inquisitor Malachi, observing closely, his tone cautious.
Tech Priest, your thirst for knowledge is unrivaled, but remember our purpose here. We tread upon sacred and dangerous ground. Do not let your guard down to the seductions of the warp.
Tech Priest Orion, his gaze fixed on the glowing runes, his voice filled with a hunger for the esoteric.
Fear not, Inquisitor. It is through understanding these mysteries that we arm ourselves against the dark. Every secret unlocked here could be a weapon for the Imperium, a shield against chaos.
Sister Kalia, her hand resting on the hilt of her sword, wary of the surroundings.
Weapons or not, these are still the tools of the enemy, steeped in corruption. We must tread lightly, Orion. The line between use and misuse is as thin as a razor's edge.
Jarian Exoth, his voice a low murmur from the shadows watching the periphery.
And in our quest for power, let us not become the very evil we seek to destroy. The labyrinth tempts and tests. It is its nature to deceive and corrupt.
Orion turning momentarily from the console, his optics flickering with reflected light.
Understood. But let us not shy away from the tools that fate provides. Knowledge is neither good nor evil. Its use determines its nature. Here lies a path to understanding, perhaps even salvation.
As Orion returns his attention to the arcane machinery, the symbols begin to stabilize, forming coherent patterns. The chamber hums with power, the air thick with the potential of revelations yet to come. Inquisitor Malachi, stepping closer to observe the data streaming across the console.
Keep us informed of your findings, Orion, but heed the warnings of your brethren. We are the Emperor's sword, not his foe. Our souls are his, and our mission sacred. Let no ancient secret lead you astray.
The team watches as Orion delves deeper into the machinery's secrets. The tension between curiosity and caution palpable. Each member remains alert, their faith and resolve tested by the very walls that surround them, aware that each discovery could hold the key to salvation or damnation. In a dimly lit corridor of the labyrinth, Assassin Jarian Zoth moves ahead of the group, his steps silent despite the palpable tension in the air. Suddenly, the shadows around him begin to stir, morphing into humanoid shapes that mirror the forms of his past victims. Each shadow bears a distorted, accusing face, their silent screams reverberating in the psychic ether of the labyrinth. Assassin Jarian Zoth, his voice a low growl as he draws his twin blades, their edges gleaming faintly in the dark.
Come then, echoes of my past. I have dealt with you once. I shall do so again. Each of you was a choice, a necessity of my trade. If I must, I will face you all once more.
As he speaks, the first of the shadows lunges towards him. its form blurring between reality and illusion. Jarian meets it head-on, his blade slicing through the ethereal body, dispersing it into a mist that briefly recoils before regathering strength. Inquisitor Malachi, observing from a distance, his voice calm yet concerned.
Be wary, Jarian. These apparitions are not merely remnants. They are manifestations of the Labyrinth's will. It seeks to overwhelm you, to break your spirit by dredging up your darkest deeds.
Sister Kalia, her hand resting on her own weapon, ready to assist.
Jarian, you do not face them alone this time. We stand with you, against whatever phantoms arise. Let your guilt be absolved by our presence, your burden shared.
Jarian exoth, panting slightly as the shadows multiply, each defeat seemingly spawning more assailants.
Thank you, sister. But these are my demons to confront. Stand back. This is a trial I must endure, a penance for my soul.
Tech Priest Orion, analyzing the scene with a scanner, his tone analytical.
The energy these shadows emit is unusual, not entirely psychic, nor physical. I suspect the Labyrinth amplifies personal traumas to create these entities. Jarian, focus on the reality, not the illusion. They cannot harm you, unless you permit them to.
Jarian nods, steeling himself as he faces the growing horde. With a fierce cry, he launches into a flurry of movements, each strike precise and deliberate. With each shadow dispelled, his resolve hardens, but so too does the Labyrinth's assault intensify. Jarian Xoth, breathing heavily, his resolve unyielding.
So be it. I am a weapon forged by my deeds, tempered by my regrets. If this is my path to redemption, I will walk it to the end.
The battle continues, Jarian moving like a spectre through the horde of shadows, his blades a blur. Slowly, the tide begins to turn. The shadows wane, their numbers dwindling, as his determination dominates the dark. Inquisitor Malachi, nodding in approval, his voice filled with respect.
See, my friend, how the darkness recedes before your will. You are more than your past, more than the shadows that seek to define you.
As the last of the shadows dissipates, Jarian stands alone, breathing heavily but victorious. The corridor is clear, the oppressive energy fading. The trial is past, his spirit cleansed by the confrontation, ready to face whatever the Labyrinth holds next. The team regroups, moving forward together, their bonds strengthened by the trials endured, each member's resolve galvanized against the darkness that awaits. As the group navigates deeper into the Labyrinth, the eerie silence is suddenly broken by a voice that seems to seep from the very walls around them. The voice is chillingly familiar to Inquisitor Malachi, carrying the timbre of his late mentor, twisted now into a mocking, ethereal echo, its tone dripping with malevolence and seduction.
Malachi, so driven by your quest for vengeance, you seek the throne of souls. But do you truly comprehend what you chase? What secrets it holds about your beloved family?
Inquisitor Malachi, pausing, his expression hardening as he listens, his hand subconsciously resting on the hilt of his sword.
Who speaks? Show yourself. I have no patience for shadows and whispers.
The voice now laughing softly, the sound swirling around the group.
In this place, I am as real as your doubts and as tangible as your fears. I offer you not confrontation, but knowledge, power for truth, Malachi. The truth about the throne, about your family's fate.
Sister Kalia, stepping closer to Malachi, her voice a steady murmur.
Inquisitor, be wary. This place plays upon our deepest fears and desires. It seeks to divide us, to make us doubt our path.
Tech Priest Orion, his senses flickering, attempting to localize the source of the voice.
The acoustic properties here are manipulated. It uses our own perceptions against us. Whatever it offers, it's laced with deception.
Assassin Jarian Exoth, his eyes scanning the shifting shadows, his voice low.
Promises from unseen lips are as reliable as a knife made of smoke. It seeks to unsettle you, Inquisitor. Focus on what is tangible, what is known.
Malachi, his gaze fixed on the dark corridor ahead, his voice resolute.
You offer truths wrapped in lies, voice of the abyss. Speak plainly, or hold your peace. I will not be swayed by the whispers of a labyrinth that seeks my undoing.
The voice, its tone turning sharp, almost urgent.
But what if the truth could free you from the burden you carry? What if knowing the real reason behind your family's ruin could change everything? Wouldn't you want that power, Malachi?
Inquisitor Malachi shaking his head, firm in his resolve.
My path is one of faith and duty. I do not need the poison of your truths to guide my actions. My family's memory requires no vindication from the likes of you.
Kalia, her voice reinforcing Malachi's resolve.
We are your brethren in arms, Malachi. Do not let it isolate you. We face whatever comes together.
Orion, adjusting his data tether, offering a tactical perspective.
Logical determinants suggest ignoring external provocations while focusing on strategic objectives. Maintain course and safeguard mental integrity.
Jarian nodding in agreement, readying his blades.
Let it prattle on. We have a mission to complete. Words are but air. It is our actions that will define us here.
As the voice fades, frustrated by Malachi's defiance, the group tightens their ranks, their unity reinforced by the trial. The Labyrinth's attempts to sow discord have only solidified their resolve, each member drawing strength from the shared conviction that they are not merely pawns in some cosmic game of deceit. In a dimly lit chamber of the labyrinth, lined with ancient inscriptions and eerie, pulsating lights, the team comes across a chilling discovery, a fragment of a psyker's skull, etched with deep, cryptic runes. Tech Priest Orion carefully lifts the shard, his mechadendrites whirring softly as they project a holographic image of the runes for closer examination. Tech Priest Orion, his voice filled with a mix of reverence and scientific curiosity.
Fascinating. These runes are not merely decorative. They contain data, encoded psychically. It seems to be a fragment of a much larger set of knowledge. Possibly a map or a key.
As Orion deciphers the runes, the chamber reacts. The walls begin to tremble, and the sounds of grinding stone echo ominously around them as the room starts to constrict. Inquisitor Malachi, his tone urgent, commanding as he observes the closing walls.
Orion, whatever you're doing, it's waking the Labyrinth's defenses. We need to move now.
His sister Kalia, drawing her sword, her voice calm but firm.
We cannot leave with just a fragment of knowledge. Orion, can you hasten your analysis? We need whatever advantage this might offer.
Tech Priest Orion, focusing intently on the skull fragment, his mechadendrites working rapidly.
I am attempting to extract and store the data quickly. However, the Labyrinth seems to perceive our intent and is countering. I need more time.
Assassin Jarian Exoth, positioning himself near a narrowing exit, twin blades ready, watching the walls encroach with calculating eyes.
Time is a luxury we may not have. I'll hold the passage. Extract what you can, and prepare to withdraw swiftly.
The walls move closer, creating a claustrophobic atmosphere. Dust and small debris fall from the ceiling as the ancient stonework begins to shift more aggressively. Malachi, stepping closer to Orion, ready to assist.
Focus on the essential data, Orion. Leave the rest. Our lives are worth more than incomplete secrets.
Orion nods, his voice strained under the pressure.
Understood, Inquisitor. I've secured the most critical data. We must evacuate this chamber now.
Sister Kalia, her voice echoing through the tightening space, rallying her companions.
To the exit, quickly! Move as one and keep your guard up. This labyrinth aims to crush us with our own curiosity.
With no time to spare, the team hurries towards the exit, the passage narrowing with each passing second. Jarian Zoth slashes at encroaching stone tendrils that attempt to block their path, his movements precise and deadly. Jarian Zoth calling back to the others as he clears a path.
This way. Keep close.
They barely squeeze through the narrowing exit, the passage slamming shut behind them with a thunderous roar, the sound reverberating through the corridors. Breathing heavily, they find themselves in a new section of the labyrinth, the danger momentarily abated but the threat ever present. Inquisitor Malachi checking on each member, his voice a mix of relief and resolve.
Well done, everyone. Orion, your findings may well decide our fate in this cursed maze. Let us press on with caution and conviction.
Regrouped and with renewed purpose, the team advances deeper into the labyrinth, each member alert and wary of what other trials await them in the darkened passages ahead. As the labyrinth's walls close in with an inexorable, grinding menace, the team finds themselves in a narrowing corridor, their path forward uncertain and fraught with peril. Inquisitor Malachi's voice cuts through the rising panic with commanding clarity. Inquisitor Malachi, his voice firm, rallying his team.
Hold your positions. This is no mere corridor. It's a trap designed to test our resolve. We must act as one if we are to survive.
Sister Kalia, her voice steady despite the pressing walls.
What do you propose, Inquisitor? Our usual tactics seem ill-suited to this constriction.
Tech Priest Orion, his mechadendrites whirring anxiously as he scans the encroaching walls.
The mechanisms are ancient, but sophisticated, designed to respond to physical presence. We might disrupt its sensors temporarily.
Assassin Jarian Ixoth, nodding towards a series of protrusions in the walls that resemble sensor nodes.
Allow me. I can disable them, at least momentarily. Cover me.
With swift, calculated movements, Jarian dashes towards the nearest node, his blades slicing through the intricate network of wires and arcane technology. The walls halt momentarily, granting them a precious few seconds. Malachi, quickly assessing the situation.
Orion, assist Jarian. Kalia, with me. We'll shield them from any mechanical counterattacks. Move.
As Jarian and Orion work feverishly to sabotage the labyrinth sensors, Malachi and Kalia stand guard, their weapons ready for any threat that might emerge from the shadows. Sister Kalia, her voice a whisper, her eyes scanning the dark.
It's like fighting a shadow, Inquisitor. We strike, yet what do we truly hit?
Inquisitor Malachi, his gaze fixed on their surroundings, his voice edged with steel.
We strike at fear itself, sister. We may not cleave flesh, but we shatter the doubt it seeks to sow in our hearts.
As Jarian successfully disables another sensor, the walls shudder and begin to retract slightly, the corridor widening just enough to offer a path forward. Orion, pulling back with Jarian, a hint of triumph in his voice.
The immediate threat is lessened. We should move quickly before it recalibrates.
Jarian, sheathing his blades, nodding to Malachi.
Lead on, Inquisitor. This maze has yet to meet minds like ours.
With renewed determination, the team presses forward, their collective action under duress forging a stronger bond among them. Each member's unique strengths have contributed to their survival, reinforcing the trust and respect within the group. Malachi, looking over his shoulder at his team, a rare smile breaking across his stern features.
Well done all. This labyrinth throws darkness at us, but together we bring light enough to prevail. Let us continue, united against whatever lies ahead.
Their unity solidified, the team advances into the labyrinth's depths, each member alert and ready, their camaraderie a beacon against the oppressive darkness of the maze. As they step into the deeper shadows of the labyrinth, A low rumble echoes through the corridor, a sound not of stone or metal, but of something ancient and alive. The walls, slick with a strange luminescence, seem to pulse with a life of their own, whispering secrets of ages past. The air grows colder, the path ahead, obscured by a thick mist that swirls mysteriously around their feet. Suddenly, a faint light flickers in the distance, beckoning them onward, a beacon of hope or a harbinger of doom, they cannot yet tell. With each step, the weight of their quest grows heavier, the stakes clearer, and their resolve firmer. Whatever awaits them in the heart of this malevolent maze, they are ready to face it together, driven by a shared destiny and a fierce determination to emerge victorious or not at all.
Alright, and that was the Labyrinth the Damned, part 1. A few issues, still a little jarring. I don't know if I like the static images, although it saves me probably an entire day. So, I don't know. Let me know if you guys are okay with those. And I might do them every now and then. I'll still do the animation ones, because I do think that they look a little bit better most of the time. But yeah, so feedback, I need feedback. Give me feedback. Yeah, I'll keep this really short. I don't like the script writing. It's gonna be like this for the next 2 parts too. Because I've already pretty much done all the AI narration. I've done all the, and I have to pay for that. So I don't really want to go back and pay for it again and then have to redo all of it again. So just in the future, I'm not going to be writing like a script anymore. Or I'll do it differently or something, because it is really jarring, I feel like. Characters are fun. Or were fine. Not fun. Characters are fine. I never really wrote a sister a battle before. Also, her voiceover. I had this other voiceover that I replaced with the one that you heard. And they both kind of sucked in certain areas, and then they both were better in certain areas. And I thought that this one was better in more areas than the other one. But I still don't like it, I'm gonna be honest. She's too much like she's reading like an advertisement or something. But yeah, she was kind of basic. She is kind of basic, it's just like her faith guides her and stuff. Orion, I love tech priests, I love the Mechanicum, so I try to always include them in the story. But I've been doing it too often lately. And then the Inquisitor is, just a rough Inquisitor. My favorite character though was how does the AI say it? I think it's Jarian is how they say it. I was calling him Jaren. I can pronounce it with the Y kind of. But he was kind of my favorite to kind of write and put into situations. I'm not just talking about kind of, because I've already written all of the parts. It's like, it's going to be like an hour and a half, 2 hours long. So I have that knowledge of the character, right? Which you don't, right? Because you've only seen everything thus far. But I like the way that Yarn kind of develops, and he was kind of fun to write. So I might do another. I kind of want to do like an Assassinorum fucking story. Now after playing around with his character. So I might do that. Yeah. Anything else? Going once. Going twice. Yeah, feedback. Give me feedback. Pretty please. Last thing I'll say is I've started writing another story that I like quite a lot more than this. It's like more... It's like the first story that'll be not like an adventure story where like you're waiting to... You're not just waiting to see what happens next, right? You're like actively... I'm trying to make it that way. Where you're actively trying to kind of... It's not a mystery, but like you're actively trying to think of what's going to happen next on your own. You're not just waiting for what's going to happen next, like with most of my stories, I feel like. So I'm kind of excited for that one. It doesn't have a name yet or anything, but it's based loosely on the movie Moon. It was made in 2009, I think. It's you can go look it up and that'll tell you what it's about and stuff. But it's kind of loosely based off that, with a tech priest and a cogitator and a couple servitors and stuff. It's a lonely story, and there's a little bit of mystery and stuff, and I'm kind of excited for that one. I'm going to start putting it together after I put together the second part and the third part of this one. It's already written, it's already been edited, it's all good to go. I just have to generate images for it, animate the images, do the AI narration, and then finally put it all together. So it will take a while. It's also the longest story I think that I've ever made. There's 5 parts. Each part is about 45 minutes long, kind of like this one. So it'll be a long one, but I like it. I do genuinely like it. And I hope you guys do too. But that's in the future, and I'm just letting you know what's going on. This is too long. I meant to keep this really short. So, thank you very much for listening, and listening to all this babble and stuff. If you liked the video, if you liked the story, please like, comment, and subscribe. And give me feedback. I need feedback. I want to know what people think. Good, bad, neutral. Any little criticisms, any little this, that, it's all welcome. But please. Alright. That's it. Thanks again. You have a good day. Good night. Either one. Alright. Thank you so much. Bye. See you soon.